I am completely, utterly unwell right now. Like, I'm literally gasping for air. The producers had to step in.
Oh my God.
I repeat, the producers had
Yeah.
step in. We almost just witnessed an actual, like, legally binding televised divorce happening in real time.
On a glamping trip.
Yes, on a glamping trip in the middle of Guntersville, Alabama. My jaw is still firmly attached to the floor. Like, the fourth wall was completely shattered into a million little pieces.
It was obliterated.
Completely obliterated. Maurice was standing there, visibly vibrating with rage, like about to drop the absolute final D word right into the camera lens.
He was so close.
And the production crew literally had to, like, drop their clipboards, pull the plug, and physically intervene to stop him from blowing up his entire life for our entertainment.
It is the absolute definition of reality television history. I mean, the tension in that scene was so unbelievably thick you could have sliced right through it with a surgical scalpel.
Literally.
I am still actively recovering from the emotional damage of watching that unfold, babe.
Mm-hmm.
When the people whose literal job it is to instigate drama,
Right.
when they tell you that you've gone too far, that is when you know you have crossed over into a very dark, very chaotic dimension.
Seriously, it is so dark. But wait, we need to say hi to the babes. Babes, welcome back. It's the weekend, and babes, we hope you are thriving right now.
We hope you have a drink in your hand.
Exactly. We are so thrilled to be back in the studio, sitting down and getting to all of this absolute madness with you.
So happy to be sitting down. Honestly, my feet are still recovering from our trip.
Oh my gosh, same. And babes, we just finished watching Calabasas Confidential, and if you haven't listened to our chat on it yet, go do that immediately.
Literally pause this and go do that.
Yes, because the delusions in that show are equally staggering. But babes, can we talk about Los Angeles for a minute?
Oh boy, here we go.
Because honestly, we have thoughts.
And the thoughts are actively spiraling, babe. Completely out of control.
We just landed back from LA, and I need to just vent to you for a second. Because I felt aggressively, profoundly poor. The literal second the wheels of our plane touched the tarmac at LAX.
Instantly.
It was instantaneous. It was like my bank account sensed the geographic location and sent me a push notification that just said, you know, why are we here? We do not belong here.
No, I completely agree. I checked my credit card balance while we were standing there waiting for the rental car shuttle.
Oh, no.
And I swear to you, bestie, my credit score dropped 10 points just from breathing in the air in your baggage claim.
Yeah.
The air itself feels monetized?
Yes. You have to pay for the oxygen. And I looked out the window at a private jet parked next to a commercial terminal and immediately felt my net worth just plummet. But that wasn't even the worst part.
Don't even say it.
It's the traffic. The endless, soul-crushing, absolutely mind-numbing traffic.
The emotional damage caused by that traffic cannot be overstated.
How does anyone maintain a functional human life there? You sit in your car, completely paralyzed, spending 4 hours on the 405 freeway just to go get an overpriced iced matcha latte that tastes exactly like grass clippings.
Literally grass and dirt. And you are moving at 3 miles an hour, staring at the bumper of a Tesla, just reconsidering every life choice that brought you to Southern California. I was sitting in the passenger seat of our rental car, doing active yogic deep breathing exercises.
I saw you. You were hyperventilating.
I was just trying to keep my nervous system from collapsing, and I was looking out the window at people in the cars next to us, and they all looked so calm. Like, how are they calm?
I don't know. They are medicated by the sunshine. And the coffee. Can we talk about the expensive coffee?
Please. Why did 2 regular iced coffees and a single gluten-free, dairy-free, completely joy-free pastry cost us the exact equivalent of a patient's copay for a complex root canal?
I was crying at the register.
I handed the barista my card and thought, well, I guess I am funding your entire independent film right now.
It makes absolutely no sense. And the parking. The expensive parking.
Extortion.
The sheer extortion. We paid $30 to valet a car. $30 just to walk into a restaurant where we paid another $100 for 2 salads that consisted mostly of pressurized air, a dash of lemon juice, and like 3 microgreens.
We essentially paid to rent the plates for 45 minutes, honey. That's all we did.
We did. But here is the thing, and I can't lie to you, babes. I still romanticize it. I really do.
Of course you do.
I look at the palm trees against that perfect blue sky, and I melt. The sunshine hitting the Hollywood sign as you drive up into the hills. I was completely delusional the entire time.
We were deeply delusional, babe.
I was looking around every single corner, fully convinced I was going to lock eyes with an A-list celebrity at a crosswalk.
You thought the barista at Erewhon was a Hemsworth brother?
He had the jawline.
I had to gently, lovingly pull you aside and explain that he just had a very strong, angular jawline and a $300 haircut. That is the fundamental problem with Los Angeles. Everyone looks suspiciously attractive at all times.
Everyone.
It messes with your baseline perception of reality. You walk into a random organic grocery store to buy an apple, and the people in the produce aisle are wearing matching monochromatic athleisure sets that cost more than my entire professional wardrobe.
It is so exhausting trying to keep up with the vibes. I felt simultaneously wildly underdressed and aggressively overdressed everywhere we went.
Yep.
Like, if I wore jeans, everyone else was in silk slip dresses. If I wore a dress, everyone else was in vintage, distressed denim that probably cost $1,000.
Yep.
And we tried to find, authentic local spots, right?
I tried so hard.
We wanted to find a quiet cafe just to sit and decompress. And every single person in there was just aggressively networking at top volume.
Oh my God, yes. Every single conversation we overheard somehow felt like a networking event. We couldn't hear ourselves think.
Everyone was pitching something.
The guy sitting next to us was loudly saying, "Oh yeah, I'm developing a limited docu-series about the ethical sourcing of sustainable lip gloss." Like, please, sir.
I wanted to scream.
Just drink your $20 adaptogen smoothie and let me suffer through my jet lag in absolute peace. I was traumatized by the sheer volume of unsolicited screenplay pitches happening in my peripheral vision.
My nervous system was completely fried by day 2. Which brings up the ultimate debate, bestie.
Okay, let's hear it.
Do we actually love Los Angeles, or do we just love the idea of Los Angeles?
Oh, that is the question.
Because the idea is very glamorous, right?
Yeah.
Driving down the PCH in a vintage convertible, the warm wind in your hair, listening to Fleetwood Mac, feeling like you are the main character.
But the reality is you're stuck behind a massive municipal garbage truck for 45 minutes.
Yes. Inhaling diesel exhaust fumes while your GPS aggressively recalculates a route that adds another hour to your trip.
We love the idea, babe. Let's be completely analytically honest with ourselves and with the Snark squad listening. We love the aesthetic of Los Angeles on a highly curated Pinterest board.
Exactly.
We do not love the lived reality of losing 3 hours of our precious, finite human lives just to travel 6 miles across town to look at a museum exhibit.
Honestly, babes, we just needed to get that off our chest. Because we both love Los Angeles in theory.
In theory.
But in reality, not exactly our vibe.
Not our vibe at all. We are working professionals. We need peace. We need logical efficiency. And we desperately need parking to be free and readily available.
Say louder. Okay, babe, so to recover from all of that, the peach bellinis are officially on deck tonight.
Yes, they are.
The leanies, baby. Cheers.
Cheers, bestie. Oh my goodness. Just that sound alone, the popping of the bubbles, it instantly heals me.
It restores my spirit. There's something so incredibly specific about peach bellinis that somehow makes every single weekend feel completely luxurious.
It really does.
I don't care if we are sitting in our sweatpants on a living room couch after working a 60-hour week, and you all know we spend our weeks filling cavities, doing extractions, and fighting with dental insurance companies.
The absolute worst part of the job.
It is not a glamorous life. But the exact second the leanies are poured into these glasses, my entire posture changes. I am suddenly a wealthy socialite with zero responsibilities.
Well, analytically speaking, sparkling drinks create a false, beautiful sense of invincibility.
They really do.
They encourage bad decisions, but in the absolute best, most harmless way possible. You feel incredibly rich while spending very little actual money on a bottle of Prosecco and some peach puree.
It's the ultimate psychological life hack.
It is. The leanies have fundamentally become part of our core personalities at this point.
I take one single sip, the sugar hits my bloodstream. I am already mentally planning an elaborate imaginary vacation to the Amalfi Coast.
I can literally see you doing it.
I'm literally picturing us right now, lounging on the deck of a multi-million-dollar yacht, wearing oversized designer sunglasses, completely ignoring the deeply tragic fact that we both have to be back at our respective dental clinics in scrubs, holding suction tubes by 8 o'clock on Monday morning.
And while you are out there manifesting the yacht and the ocean breeze, babe, I am sitting here analytically budgeting our imaginary lottery winnings.
You are so practical.
Someone has to be practical about our fake wealth. I've already calculated the federal and state tax brackets. I've set aside exactly enough liquid capital to instantly pay off the remainder of our massive dental school loans.
Praise be.
And I've figured out the exact long-term return on investment on a historic villa in Positano. The universe just needs to hurry up and direct deposit the funds.
Speaking of the universe catching up, okay, babes, we need to make our weekly predictions for each other for the upcoming week.
Oh, I am so ready.
And babes, we are going big today.
We are going huge. And just to remind you all, by day, we are literal licensed healthcare professionals.
We are actual dentists.
We work at entirely separate practices across town from each other. We deal with saliva and high-speed drills and impacted wisdom teeth. It is highly clinical. But by the weekend, the second these lab coats come off.
We transform into delusional reality television royalty.
Exactly. So hit me. I am bracing myself. My malpractice insurance is already sweating.
Okay, I'm making 5 ridiculous predictions for you, and you make 5 for me. Prediction number 1 for you, bestie. You are going to accidentally go incredibly viral for a highly shady, highly opinionated dental video on TikTok.
Oh my God, no.
Yes, you're going to be exhausted after a long shift, make a sarcastic comment about some influencer's brand new veneers looking like massive opaque chiclets, and it's going to get 4 million views overnight.
The sheer panic that would cause our clinic's PR manager, but honestly, I can completely see it happening. I'd be staring dead-eyed into my front-facing camera just saying, listen, if your teeth literally glow in the dark under a black light, your cosmetic dentist actively hates you.
And suddenly you are permanently canceled by Big Veneer.
The porcelain lobby would come for my license.
Okay, prediction number 2. You are going to meet a major reality star at the most mundane, boring lunch spot imaginable.
Okay, I like this one.
You'll be standing in line at a Panera Bread on a Tuesday, waiting for a bread bowl of broccoli cheddar soap, and suddenly you will lock eyes with a wildly famous Bravo housewife by the iced tea dispenser.
Listen, if I miraculously run into a housewife at a Panera Bread, I am absolutely abandoning all social decorum. I will ask her to sign my French baguette with a Sharpie.
You would interrogate her right there.
I'd trap her between the napkin dispenser and the trash can and demand to know what really happened at the reunion.
Prediction number 3, building on that. You are going to get aggressively recruited for reality television by a producer while you are standing in the checkout line at the grocery store.
Yes. Manifest this.
You'll be wearing sweatpants, buying something completely depressing like unsweetened oat milk, and a producer will sense your chaotic aura from 3 aisles over and hand you a business card.
If I get handed a casting card at the Trader Joe's checkout counter, I want you to know right now that I am immediately quitting dentistry.
On the spot.
I will literally flip a display table in the organic produce section right then and there just to prove I have the emotional instability required to secure the contract. These avocados are entirely too firm.
I would support you.
Yeah.
Okay, prediction 4. You are going to secure a free, highly exclusive, all expenses paid super yacht invite to the Amalfi Coast.
The dream.
A wildly wealthy patient is going to come in your clinic, fall in love with your vibe while you're cleaning their bicuspids, and say, hey, my yacht leaves for Italy Tuesday. Bring a friend, and you will bring me.
My bags have realistically been packed since 2019. If a billionaire offers me a yacht trip, I am diagnosing them with 0 cavities for the rest of their natural life. Perfect smile, sir. Now show me the way to the helipad.
And my final prediction for you. You are going to manifest a mysterious sugar daddy who has absolutely no physical expectations of you, but explicitly just wants to log in and pay off the exact remaining balance of your dental school student loans.
Wow.
Just a clean wire transfer to Sally Mae.
That is genuinely the most deeply romantic thing anyone has ever conceptualized in my presence. Forget flying me to Paris. Simply ask for my student loan portal login credentials, type in your routing number, and bring that devastating balance down to 0. That is my ultimate love language.
Financial solvency. Okay, your turn.
Are you fully prepared for your life trajectory to change?
I am so ready. Give it to me.
Prediction number 1 for you, babe. You are going to accidentally become a highly chaotic lifestyle influencer.
Oh, no.
You're going to post an unedited, incredibly frantic video of you trying to organize your kitchen Tupperware cabinet while having a minor emotional breakdown. And exhausted working women everywhere will relate to it so hard that you instantly get a 6-figure brand sponsorship deal with the Container Store.
Honestly, yeah, that is aggressively accurate. My Tupperware drawer is a direct reflection of my inner mental state, and right now it is a complete disaster zone. I would absolutely sell out my dental career for a good matching set of airtight glass storage containers.
Prediction number 2. You are going to get into a highly polite but incredibly tense, long-lasting feud with a completely random local celebrity. Let's say the local morning news meteorologist cuts you off in traffic, and you wage a relentless digital war against him on neighborhood Facebook groups.
Oh, I would destroy his credibility. I'd be in the comments like, partly cloudy today with a 90% chance of Gary absolutely failing to understand how a four-way stop sign works.
You would make it your part-time job to ruin his local Q rating.
I really would.
Prediction number 3. You are going somehow secure an invitation to an exclusive underground Hollywood warehouse party, and you will show up wearing a full floor-length sequin ball gown to a place where literally everyone else is wearing vintage, distressed denim, and radiating board irony.
I would absolutely show up in full red carpet glam to a damp warehouse, immediately realize my catastrophic mistake, and just fully lean into the delusion. I'd look at people in T-shirts and say, oh, you guys aren't doing black tie tonight. How quaint.
Prediction number 4. You are going to be forced to diagnose a massive cavity on an A-list celebrity, and their security team is going to aggressively force you to sign an ironclad NDA before you were even legally allowed to pick up the high-speed drill.
That would be absolute psychological torture for me. You know I could not keep a secret to save my life.
You would explode.
I would just have to stare at you across the room and blink very rapidly. I'd be trying to give you clues like, listen, someone who may or may not have won Record of the Year desperately needs a root canal, but I legally cannot confirm if they write songs about their ex-boyfriends.
And your final prediction. You are going to get comped an entire luxury hotel vacation entirely just for having spectacular vibes. A stressed hotel manager is going to see your aura, realize you bring an essential joy to their establishment, and spontaneously upgrade you to the penthouse suite for free.
I accept this timeline. I receive this energy with open arms.
We have put it out into the universe. The energetic wheels are in motion.
Okay, babes, enough spiraling about our own delusions because my actual blood pressure is starting to spike. Just thinking about what we actually need to discuss today.
Yes, we have stalled long enough.
We have to talk about love and marriage. Huntsville, Season 11, Episode 13. Soft hands, hard heads.
The title alone. We just need to sit in silence and respect the title alone. It genuinely deserves an Emmy for dramatic writing.
It is art. So, before we get into the absolute carnage of the interpersonal dynamics, let's just properly set the vibe of the physical location. We are in Guntersville, Alabama.
Right.
For anyone who doesn't know, this is supposed to be a gorgeous, restorative couples retreat. The aesthetic they're going for is glamping. They're supposed to be out in nature, finding peace, and engaging in deep marital bonding.
Key operative phrase. Supposed to be. Because what we're actually witnessing on our television screens is a high-stakes, emotional hostage situation, poorly disguised as a rustic vacation.
It's terrifying.
The reality of this trip is absolute suffocating misery. These people are physically trapped in these massive, echoey wooden cabins alongside people they actively, openly despise. You can visibly see the claustrophobia setting into their eyes.
The absolute best analogy I can think of to explain the specific energy of this retreat. It feels exactly like being trapped in a tiny, fluorescent-lit dental waiting room with your incredibly toxic, worst ex-partner.
That is so specific, but so accurate.
Well, we're just sitting there, trying to read a 4-month-old copy of People magazine in peace. But the unresolved tension is literally sucking the oxygen out of the room. Every time someone shifts in their chair, it feels like a premeditated act of aggression.
Exactly. A retreat is fundamentally designed to be restorative, to rebuild foundations. But everyone at this retreat is just sitting around perpetually braced for the next incoming attack. Which brings us directly to the absolute farce that was the fake ceasefire.
Oh my God, the fake ceasefire. I need to talk about Kimmi and Martell first because my blood is actively boiling thinking about this sequence.
Let's get into it.
So, Kimmi completely derails the vibe by picking a massive, calculated fight regarding Martell laughing at Maurice's story about getting into a car accident and getting a DUI. And I am sorry, but I had a complete emotional breakdown watching this because it was so wildly unfair.
Okay, tell me why.
Martell was clearly laughing at the absolute chaotic absurdity of the way Maurice was telling the story. He was not maliciously laughing at the actual fact that Maurice was in a dangerous car crash. Everyone was laughing.
Okay, let's pull back and analytically break down the deeply shady psychological dynamics of what Kimmi actually executed here. Because what she did is a masterclass in deflected accountability.
Oh, totally.
You have to look at the foundational setup. Kimmi did not want Martell on this couple's trip to begin with. She explicitly communicated a boundary to Maurice. She said, I do not want him here.
And Maurice ignored it.
Maurice completely ignored his wife's boundary and invited Martell anyway. So what does Kimmi do when she is forced to share space with a man she didn't want there, brought by a husband who didn't listen to her? She weaponizes the situation.
She forced Maurice into a corner.
Exactly. She strategically pokes the bear. She purposefully starts a massive fight with Martell over something incredibly trivial, a laugh that literally everyone else at the table was also chuckling at, just so Martell will predictably react with hostility.
Oh my God. Yes.
And once Martell blows up, Kimmi can turn to her husband Maurice and say, "See? Look at his behavior. I told you he shouldn't be here. Now you have to deal with the monster you invited."
It is so transparent when you lay it out like that. Martell, as deeply problematic and chaotic as he usually is, and we all know Martell is generally public enemy #1 on this show, he actually wasn't doing anything maliciously wrong in that specific isolated moment.
Not in that moment, no.
But Kimmi desperately needed the highly visible scapegoat to project all of her simmering internal marital frustrations onto.
It's textbook psychological warfare, bestie. She used Martell as a human pawn on a chessboard to actively punish her own husband. And then, in a completely bizarre pivot to diffuse the massive tension she just created, Kimmi forces all the men to compete in what I can only describe as the picnic table Olympics.
The unhinged absurdity of this physical challenge. The emotional stakes are at a boiling point, marriages are fracturing, and she forces these grown men to go outside in the sweltering Alabama heat and build massive wooden picnic tables from scratch.
With absolutely no instructional manuals. It's brilliant reality television producing. Honestly, give them power tools when they are the most angry.
But the twist of this entire setup, the twist that literally had me screaming at my television screen. Maurice is designated as a team captain. He is picking his team, and who does he choose?
You can't make it up.
He actually selects his current mortal enemy, Martell, to be on his team. It sets up this incredibly tense dynamic of the OGs versus the new Gs.
I was dying on my couch. They were literally screaming at each other's throats the night before. Kimmi was demanding Maurice defend her honor against Martell. And now, 12 hours later, they are silently, aggressively holding pieces of raw lumber together to build patio furniture.
And the absolute climax of this entire ridiculous challenge is when they bring in Brenda.
Brenda from the front desk.
Brenda is an icon.
Brenda is an absolute star. Give Brenda a main cast contract and a confessional chair right now.
She just strolls out from the reception area, completely unbothered by the million-dollar reality TV drama happening around her. She looks at these shoddily constructed wooden tables like they are a glaring health code violation, and she just deadpan declares Maurice, Martell, and Marcel the winners.
And the sheer palpable awkwardness of that stiff ceasefire between the men after they won. They were technically victorious, but they stood there looking like they desperately wanted to hit each other over the head with the 2x4s.
It was so stiff. Good job, bro. Yeah, good job, man. You could tangibly feel the pure hatred radiating out of them. But babe, the picnic tables were absolutely nothing, a mere appetizer, compared to the incredibly messy boat aftermath involving Destiny and Tisha.
Oh, the pontoon boat of doom, where everything went completely, irrevocably off the rails.
So let's set the scene for the Snark squad. Destiny gets a little bit tipsy out on the water. She's having a good time, the drinks are flowing, but she starts pulling at Martell's jacket. She's doing the absolute most.
Very physically expressive.
And Will, who is sitting there acting as the self-appointed single guy sociological observer of this entire group, boldly admits to Ken later that he would never, ever date Destiny.
Oh, wait.
And his reasoning. Because she is far too combative, and because she's very clearly actively hunting for a husband, and he is absolutely not in the market for a wife.
Will is just sitting perched on his little throne of singledom, making these grand, sweeping judgments about everyone's character, which is incredibly rich coming from him, considering his own track record. But the real feud here is between Tisha and Destiny.
I reacted so strongly to Tisha actively tearing down Destiny's real estate endeavors.
Yeah.
Like Destiny has finally gotten her real estate license. She's trying to rebuild her life, trying to start this new chapter to support herself. And Tisha, her former close friend, is out here actively questioning the validity of her license.
On camera.
Trying to tear down the foundation of her new business on national television. It is so fundamentally nasty.
It really is.
I completely disagree with how Tisha is handling this. Like, friendships end. We all understand that. People outgrow each other. But why can't you just let the friendship die a peaceful, natural death?
Right.
Why do you have to actively plot against her professional livelihood?
Because if we look at Tisha's behavioral patterns analytically across the entire history of the show, she has a very specific modus operandi.
She does.
She burns bridges to the ground, pours gasoline on the ashes, and then completely shifts the narrative to act like she is the ultimate professional victim. She cannot just politely walk away from a toxic dynamic. She fundamentally has to destroy the other person's credibility.
Right, so she feels validated.
Exactly. She is ruthlessly plotting against a former friend while simultaneously crying to anyone who will listen that she is the one who is deeply wronged. It's a classic deflective maneuver.
She wants to be the victim and the victor at the exact same time, which perfectly transitions us to the most unhinged, deeply uncomfortable meal I have ever witnessed. The dinner table disaster.
We need to do a full vibe check on the physical energy of that dinner table because it was giving absolute Last Supper energy, but with worse lighting and significantly more resentment.
Will, our resident single observer, looks around this long table of absolutely miserable, physically frowning, deeply unhappy married people who are actively staring holes into their plates. And he has the audacity to ask out loud, "Is everybody happy?"
The gasp I let out.
I literally screamed at my television. The sheer audacity to ask that question in that room.
It was the most shady, highly calculated, instigating question you could possibly ask that specific group of people at that exact moment. He basically looked at a massive structure fire that was burning down to the foundation and casually asked the people trapped inside, "Is everyone comfortably warm in here?"
He knew exactly what kind of explosion he was detonating. He threw a grenade and just sat back to watch the shrapnel fly.
And Tisha catches that grenade and sprints down the field with it.
She actively baits Ken. She performs this incredibly fake, syrupy apology for previously spreading rumors about Ken allegedly sliding into other women's direct messages on social media. But she only apologizes just so she can pivot and try to manipulate Ken into spilling the tea on her own husband, Maurice.
It is the most transparent, clumsy interrogation tactic I have ever seen. She essentially says, "Oh, Ken, I'm so sorry I talked to your wife about those damaging rumors. By the way, what horrible things have you heard about my husband?"
She is begging a near stranger for dirt on her own spouse.
And Ken drops the ultimate rumor. He doesn't hold back. He teases that he's heard some very dark things about Maurice's dealings down at Black.
The cigar lounge.
Yes, the upscale cigar lounge that Maurice and Maurice own. It's supposed to be this high-end networking spot. But Ken specifically hints at, and I quote, "Diddy parties happening at this lounge."
My jaw dropped.
But then, after dropping that incredibly loaded, highly damaging phrase, he completely refuses to elaborate. He just drops a nuclear bomb on the table and leaves it sitting there ticking.
Ken is incredibly messy for doing that. Using that specific phrase in today's cultural climate is a massive accusation. But what is truly deeply sad here isn't Ken's instigation. It's Tisha's absolute desperation.
Yes, that's the real tragedy.
She is so desperate to find concrete dirt on Maurice's behavior to validate the internal misery she feels every single day. She fundamentally knows she is profoundly unhappy in her marriage, but she desperately wants to find a smoking gun.
She wants an affair, a scandal, a secret party.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that she doesn't have to be the one to look in the mirror and admit that the marriage is just failing on its own mundane merits. She wants a villain so she can be the undeniable victim.
Wow. Bestie, you just entirely psychoanalyzed the bedrock of their entire dynamic. She needs him to commit a massive crime, so she has permission to leave without feeling guilty.
It's true. But speaking of deeply failing dynamics, we had to pivot and talk about Kimmi's massive bombshell.
The business trap. This was incredibly heavy to watch. This wasn't petty reality TV drama. This was real-life financial terror.
So heavy. So Kimmi finally sits down, pulls back the curtain on their finances, and reveals the massive, suffocating strain that these commercial property renovations are putting on their personal bank accounts. They're dealing with these projects on Jordan Lane and Rock Cliff.
And commercial real estate is a completely different beast than residential. It bleeds cash.
It bleeds cash. And she basically draws a hard line in the sand until she absolutely refuses to pour 1 single cent more of her own personal money into Maurice and Martell's completely disorganized, flailing projects.
And honestly, good for her. As a professional woman who works hard for her money, I stood up and applauded.
Yes, my emotional reaction was 100% on Kimmi's side. I was praising her through the screen. She is finally setting firm financial boundaries. She is actively refusing to be financially dragged down and bankrupted by these men who won't even communicate project timelines with her.
She is securing her own bag, locking the vault, and throwing away the key. Analytically, we are watching Kimmi hit her absolute breaking point. She realizes that her long-term financial security, her retirement, is being actively compromised by Maurice's lack of transparency.
Absolutely.
But babe, as much as I support her financial boundaries, we absolutely have to talk about the specific insult she chose to hurl at him.
Oh my God. The ultimate read of the entire season. Maybe the entire franchise.
The most surgically precise, devastating read I have seen on reality television in a decade.
Kimmi looks Maurice dead in the eyes. A man who prides himself on being a traditional provider tells him he has completely lost his proactive masculinity and casually states that he's currently living in his soft hand era.
I physically fell off my couch. Soft hand era, I mean, just bury the man, dig the grave, and put that phrase on his tombstone. It is over for him.
It is so over.
Calling a traditional man's hands soft, it is the ultimate insult. In 3 simple words, she is questioning his blue-collar work ethic, his underlying masculinity, his drive to provide, and his competence. It was absolutely lethal.
Lethal, and we saw the catastrophic fallout of those 3 words immediately. The situation gets so unimaginably toxic so quickly that Maurice actively threatens divorce on camera. He starts heavily hinting that he wants her to be happy, even if we aren't together.
And this is exactly where the behind-the-scenes tea gets piping hot. Think about the mechanics of reality television. The producers, these are people who literally live for drama, who get paid bonuses to capture marriages imploding on camera.
Right, they want the mess.
These producers got so genuinely alarmed by the dark reality of what Maurice was about to do that they literally had to step out from behind the cameras and stop him from finalizing a divorce on a reality TV set.
It is entirely unprecedented.
When reality TV producers, the most morally flexible people in the entertainment industry, tell you to dial it back to save your real life, you know you have crossed into a completely irredeemable dimension.
They had to physically and verbally intervene to save him from themselves. But incredibly, babes, that wasn't even the ultimate breaking point of the episode, because we have to talk about Martell and Tisha.
The confrontation that made my blood run completely cold.
Martell sits down with Tisha, and he just looks hollowed out. He looks physically exhausted. He tells her he feels 100% alone in this life. He says he works outside doing manual labor in the rain, the Alabama heat to provide for his family, and he completely lacks a true teammate in his corner.
And then, after laying all that guilt on her, he drops the question that completely stopped time in its tracks. He looks at his wife and asks, "What would it cost for me to buy you out?"
Asking to buy her out of Scott Manor, the event space, and Black, the cigar lounge. Tisha's face completely falls, and she immediately assumes he wants a divorce.
Because that is exactly what the subtext of that question implies, bestie. You do not casually ask to buy your legal wife out of your joint financial life and shared businesses unless you are actively preparing spreadsheets for asset division in family court.
It is the precursor to serving papers.
It is. But then, true to form, Tisha immediately starts gaslighting him, claiming he pushed her out of the business operations to begin with and never let her be a teammate. Marcel throws his hands up in defeat, says this is so fed up, and literally turns his back and walks away.
The internet backlash to this specific scene was incredibly visceral. Fans were ripping Marcel to absolute filth on Reddit and Twitter. They were tearing him apart piece by piece.
Oh, I read the threads. They were dissecting his psychology. They called him highly narcissistic, incredibly dismissive, and they absolutely dragged him for weaponizing the exact stay-at-home mom dynamic that he originally demanded.
That's the craziest part.
Let's remember the history. Years ago, he wanted her barefoot, pregnant, and managing the household. He explicitly did not want her working. And now, years later, he is aggressively punishing her for not being a cutthroat, corporate powerhouse teammate securing commercial real estate deals.
It is the ultimate, inescapable double standard.
Yeah.
He set her up in a cage and is now mad she doesn't know how to fly.
Wow.
It is so deeply toxic. I felt such a profound, heavy sadness for Tisha watching that. You watch her face, and it's just absolute bone-deep exhaustion from spending years begging her husband to simply listen to her perspective.
It is incredibly heavy to witness. Watching these marriages operate is like watching someone willingly work a brutal 9-to-5 job with the most toxic boss imaginable.
Yes. Watching Marcel and Tisha's marriage is exactly like that. Marcel is that horrible corporate boss who never approves your paid time off, constantly micromanages your every move, and then sits you down for a hostile quarterly performance review just to ask what value you bring to the company, even though you literally helped build the company from the ground up.
That is the perfect analogy. Marcel operates with this massive, impenetrable, I'm the provider martyr complex. He demands a life partner on paper, but in practice, he treats Tisha like an annoying summer intern who keeps pestering him to sit in on the executive board meetings.
He does.
He tells her to go handle the PTA and the kids, then gets furious that she isn't bringing in venture capital. He is actively setting her up to fail so he can comfortably remain the long-suffering martyr of the relationship.
The martyr complex is completely out of control. But I have to push back on you here, babe. I have to ask you a serious question. If you were Tisha, analytically speaking, at what point do you just finally clock out of this toxic job for good? When do you draft your 2 weeks notice on this marriage and walk out the door?
I wouldn't even give 2 weeks. I would have clocked out the exact second he looked me in the eye and asked how much it would cost to buy me out. That is a hostile corporate takeover of my marriage, and I am instantly liquidating all of my emotional assets and fleeing to a non-extradition country. I would be done.
Period. Okay, let's move into our segments. Segment 1. Most likely to hold a grudge forever. We have to discuss who refuses to let anything go and whether they are justified.
Okay, the nominees are obvious.
Right, so we have Kimmi for holding on to Martell's laughter about the DUI story, or Tisha for refusing to let the Destiny friendship die peacefully and instead trying to ruin Destiny's real estate license.
Analytically, looking at the behavioral data from the entire season, it absolutely has to be Kimmi. Kimmi is the ultimate grudge holder, but as we discussed, she's using her grudge against Martell as a massive smokescreen for her failing marriage.
Totally.
She knows she cannot express her true, unvarnished rage at Maurice about his financial irresponsibility and his soft hands without entirely blowing up her life and ending in divorce. So she channels 100% of that marital anger into the safest possible target. Martell laughing at a dinner table. It is entirely misdirected rage.
That is so spot on. She is using Martell as a human shield against her own divorce. The psychology of this show is just unmatched. Which brings us to segment 2. Marriage or a full-time job? We basically just covered this, but which relationship seems the most exhausting to maintain?
Marceau and Tisha, without a shadow of a doubt. As you said, he is the toxic boss.
He's the toxic boss, and she is the intern begging for validation. So draining. Okay, segment 3, the shadiest comment of the night, discussing the reads, digs, and subtle shade that made the Snark squad gasp.
We live for the subtle reads. Let's review the contenders.
Contender number 1, while asking the table, is everybody happy? Right to a bunch of miserable, frowning faces.
A masterful display of instigation. Contender number 2 is Ken, casually dropping the highly radioactive phrase, "Diddy parties," at a dinner table to describe Marceau's private business dealings.
And contender number 3, Kimmi dubbing Maurice as being in his soft hand era. I mean, is there realistically even a debate to be had here?
There is no debate. We have to enthusiastically, unanimously crown soft hand era as the ultimate red. Calling a man's hands soft on national television is the ultimate reality TV killshot. It completely emasculates his entire identity as a provider, while ironically sounding like a general compliment about his moisturizing skincare routine. It is Shakespearean in its multi-layered cruelty.
Shakespearean. I'm crying. Okay, segment 4. What would the Snark squad do? Taking the biggest conflict from the episode and debating how we would handle it in our own lives.
The scenario is clear. Let's put you in Tisha's shoes. Your husband sits you down, claims you aren't a teammate, and asks, "What would it cost for me to buy you out of the business?"
If this happened to me, I react purely on emotion. I would immediately start hyperventilating and crying. I would pick up my entire peach Bellini, the expensive glassware, the ice, the puree, everything, and throw it directly in his face.
Yeah.
And then I would call the most vicious lawyer in the state and demand the primary house, the vacation house, both cars, and full custody of his absolute favorite custom-fitted golf clubs just to hurt him. I would salt the earth so nothing could ever grow there again.
See, I react analytically. I react with profound, calculated shade. I would not shed a single solitary tear. I would calmly pull my phone out of my pocket and open the calculator app. I would meticulously add up the baseline market rate value of the business.
Oh, you are cold.
I would tack on a non-negotiable 40% emotional damage tax for my wasted youth. I would demand to take the buyout money in a single, untraceable lump sum, and I would immediately book that manifested super yacht to the Amalfi Coast. Thank you for your business, sir. I am retiring early to Italy.
Wait, but let's take this one step further. Should Tisha actually just take the money and leave? What if she took the buyout money from Marceau, and instead of leaving, she just started a massive, aggressively marketed rival business right next door?
Oh my God.
Like, since we are dentists, what if we took a buyout and opened a rival luxury dental practice directly across the street from our ex-husband's clinic. Or, in Tisha's case, a rival high-end event space right across the street from Scott Manor.
That is the ultimate, undeniable power move, bestie. Take his hard-earned money, open Tisha's premium real estate and event emporium directly across the street, put up a massive billboard with your face on it facing his office window, and aggressively steal every single one of his high-net-worth clients.
Yes.
That is exactly how you win capitalism and a divorce settlement at the exact same time. You destroy his market share.
It is brilliant. My mind is completely blown. We have successfully solved their deeply troubled marriage by entirely ending it and starting a viciously competitive rival business. We are basically unlicensed couples therapists at this point.
It is exactly what we do best, honey. We break it down so it makes sense.
Well, babes, that brings us to the end of our chat about Guntersville's most toxic vacation. I have to profusely thank all of you listening for hanging out with us, drinking your leanies, enduring our Los Angeles trauma dumping, and spiraling into the absolute ether with us tonight.
Well, we appreciate you so much, babes. Your engagement, your comments, and your shared outrage keep our collective delusions alive and thriving every single week.
So we have a specific call to action for you before you go. First, we desperately want to know in the comments, what outrageous, highly specific prediction do you have for your own life this upcoming week? We want you to manifest something chaotic, wealthy, and fabulous. Put it in the universe.
And second, who do you think brought the absolute most unnecessary drama to the cabins in Guntersville this week? Was it Kimmi utilizing the soft hands read to deflect from her finances? Or was it Marcel with that devastating buyout proposal to his own wife? Let us know your analytical theories.
And as always, babes, please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Engaging with us directly helps us keep these peach bellinis flowing and helps aggressively shrink those massive dental student loans we were complaining about earlier.
But right before we officially sign off, I want to drop one final, highly analytical bomb for you to chew on until we talk next week. I want you to think very deeply about this.
Oh, I'm ready.
If the production crew hadn't literally stepped out of the shadows to stop Maurice from saying the D word on camera, would Tisha and Marcel have eventually followed suit and threatened divorce just to stay relevant and remain the main characters of the ensemble cast?
Oh my God.
Just ponder that, babes. Are these people really fighting tooth and nail for the survival of their actual marriages? Or are they just fighting for premium screen time and contract renewals? Let that psychological reality marinate in your brain.
You are leaving them completely paralyzed with that thought. I love it so much. Okay, babes, we are officially out of here. Stay messy.
Stay highly delusional.
And babes, we will see you on the smart side.